Hey everyone, I'm Michelle Mays. I'm the founder of Partner Hope and the clinical director at the Center for Relational Recovery in Leesburg, Virginia, outside of DC. And I am back with another video to talk to you guys about all things related to betrayal trauma. So today, what we're going to talk about is gaslighting. So we're going to look at what happens with gaslighting. I've got 4 different types of gaslighting that we're going to talk about together and that I'm going to walk you through to just help you understand what is going on in your experience of being gaslighted as a betrayed partner. So let's just start by talking about the issue of lying and gaslighting in general. So gaslighting is the overall term that we use for the kind of lying and manipulation and self-deception that goes on for the cheating partner. So whether your partner is dealing with an affair, maybe they are somebody who's had an affair, or they're somebody who has a long history of dealing with a sexual addiction and a longer pattern of problematic sexual behavior. Either way, regardless of which thing might be going on or what it might look like for your partner, part of cheating, part of breaking the relationship agreements is always the lying that is involved in covering up the cheating, right? People aren't just cheating saying, hey, by the way, I'm going to go cheat on you and going and doing it, right? They're covering that up. They have a secret. It's a secret life, and they need to make sure that that isn't found out or isn't discovered. So in order to keep it from being discovered, there's a whole pattern of lying and dishonesty that happens and is created. And gaslighting is the term that we use to talk about this pattern of lying and all the different shapes that it can take. So what I want us to talk about today is the 4 different ways that you can be gaslighted. And this is going to give you a sense of the shape that this kind of dishonesty and manipulation can take, and things to know to look out for as you're dealing with this. So before I dive into those 4 things, let me just say this. For the cheating partner, this lying piece is always part of breaking the relationship agreements, right? It's just part of the deal. Coming out of this, learning how to get honest, learning how to show up authentically in your relationship, learning how to move shame out of the way so that you can be honest. This is a huge part of recovery and of reparation of the relationship if you are staying in your relationship and repairing it. So while gaslighting is a really normal phenomenon that's part of cheating, repairing the gaslighting and coming into honesty is also a normal part of the recovery and repair process. Okay, so I just wanted to say that at the beginning. Okay, so let's talk about these 4 types of gaslighting. So the first type is what I call straight up lying. And this is really the least harmful of all 4, though it's still harmful. So it's the least harmful because it is just lying about what's happening. So it's saying, I was here when I was really there. It's saying, I spent the money on this when I really spent the money on this. It's, I didn't do that when I did do that. So it is just straight up lying about what is going on. In this category of gaslighting also is omitting information. So the idea of, I told you part of the truth, but I didn't tell you the whole truth, that's still lying. Or I told you this, but I didn't tell you this, that is still a form of lying. So I've had a ton of betrayed partners over the years talk to me about this feeling that, like, if they didn't ask the cheating partner the exact right question, then they wouldn't get the truth. And later they'd be told, well, you didn't ask me about that. When it was clear they were asking about everything, and that was just being omitted. So omitting information is a form of lying and a form of gaslighting. Okay, so that's category number 1. Category number 2 is called reality manipulation. So if you think about the way that we take in information, we take information in through our 5 senses, right? It's what we can hear, what we can see, what we can taste, what we can smell, right? It's, we know our reality based on our ability to perceive what is happening through our 5 senses, okay? Reality manipulation is when you are manipulated into believing that you cannot perceive reality accurately. So this is, finding condoms in the briefcase and saying, why are there condoms in the briefcase? Like, why would you have those on your trip with you? And being told, remember, you put those there when we were going on our vacation last year. They must just be there from then. And you're thinking, no, I didn't. And the briefcase didn't even go on vacation with us. And you're being told, yes, you did. You must have forgotten it. You did do that. You remember we were sitting here and you were packing things, and like a whole story will unspool around how this happened. And the goal of this, again, is to manipulate you into believing that you did not perceive reality accurately. So it's separating you from your ability to know what has happened and trust what has happened. So I'll give you another really good example of this. And I've heard this story not once, not twice, but multiple times. This story has walked into my office. So the story is the betrayed partner comes in and says, the way that I found out about the cheating is that I went to the doctor and I had an STD. And when I found out I had an STI, not STD, when I found out I had an STI, I came home and I confronted the cheating partner. And the cheating partner said to me, well, that's not because of me. You've been cheating on me. That must mean you've been cheating on me. Who have you been having an affair with? Who have you been sleeping with? What has been going on? And the affair partner cries and wails as though they are deeply wounded by this, and carries on about this for not just days, but weeks, claiming that the betrayed partner cheated on them and that's why they have an STI. So again, I've heard this story more than one time. And what that happens to the betrayed partner is they start to think that something is seriously wrong with them and that they actually had an affair and they don't remember it. So most of the betrayed partners who have experienced this level of reality manipulation have gotten to a place where they actually think maybe they're mentally ill. Maybe they have a serious dissociative disorder of some sort. They've started to question whether they have any ability to actually know what's happening, and maybe they had an affair and they forgot all about it. So that is what reality manipulation is. And reality manipulation is a form of emotional and psychological abuse. And I know that word abuse is like very loaded, right? It's a very loaded word to ever say to your partner, you've emotionally and psychologically abused me. But when you separate somebody from their ability to know reality, when you cause them to doubt their ability to perceive what their five senses are telling them, that is a form of emotional and mental and psychological abuse. So reality manipulation is a very serious form of gaslighting, and it can make you as a betrayed partner feel like you're going nuts, right? Because you know what you saw and yet you're being told that you didn't see it, or you know what happened, but you're being told that it didn't happen, and you're being told it so relentlessly and so consistently that you start to think that maybe you are crazy and maybe you didn't really see it. Because the other option would be to recognize that your partner is willing to gaslight you to this degree. And that would be so painful to look at and so painful to know and allow yourself to see that often it's easier to just sort of come to a place of thinking, okay, I must remember that wrong. I must not know. I must be wrong about what I perceived. All right, so reality manipulation is our second form of gaslighting. Third category is scapegoating. So scapegoating is when the cheating partner blames you, the betrayed partner, for their cheating behaviors and for what has been going on. And scapegoating happens a lot after discovery of the betrayal. So often reality manipulation, the straight up lying, will happen pre-discovery to keep it hidden. Scapegoating happens a lot in the days and weeks following discovery, because this is the period of time when the cheating partner often becomes very defensive, right? They may have shame about what's happened. They may have anger about being discovered. They may feel guilt and remorse. And then, of course, to protect themselves from all those feelings, there's going to be defensiveness that comes in. So out of this defensiveness can come scapegoating. And the scapegoating is, it's really your fault in some way that I cheated. So scapegoating can look like, if you were more available to me emotionally, I wouldn't have cheated. If you were more fun, I wouldn't have cheated. If you were sexier, I wouldn't have cheated. If you weren't so focused on the kids, I wouldn't have cheated. So it can be like a very long laundry list of things, right, that are being attacked, part of who you are that's being attacked in the scapegoating. I'm being told that if you simply were different and in different ways and operating in different ways in the relationship, then there wouldn't have been cheating. The problem with the scapegoating is each one of us is responsible for ourselves, right? So we're each responsible for the choices that we make and how we handle the challenges that may be present in our relationship. So where the scapegoating can be really challenging for betrayed partners is if you are a betrayed partner who wants to receive feedback, right? Most of us in a relationship want to be open to receiving feedback from our partner about the things that we may be doing that are harmful to them or that bother them or that hurt them, right? Because all of us are coming into the relationship flawed. Everybody is a flawed human being with character imperfections and character defects, all of that stuff, right? Nobody's perfect. So we're all bringing that in, and most people want to be available to some degree to hear feedback from their partner. So where scapegoating can get challenging for betrayed partners is if you're sort of looking at your partner and thinking, well, I want to be responsive to the feedback they're giving me, but the feedback that they're giving you is actually to scapegoat you and blame you for their choices, then that can become really confusing for you. Like, what's true, what actually belongs to me, what doesn't belong to me, what's going on here, right? So the scapegoating one can also often be really cruel. There can be a lot of cruelty in a cheating partner who compares you to the affair partner and starts to tell you that you are the one that's at fault for the cheating and the lying that they have done. There's a cruel twist to that, right? It's like being blamed for your own pain. And that has a cruel element to it. And that has to be looked at in the healing process of working through what's happened with the gaslighting and dealing with that as a couple. And scapegoating can sometimes happen in the therapist office too. I just want to say, like, you know, one of the models of looking at affairs, and I think we're getting away from this, I think we're starting to understand that affairs are much more complicated than this simple equation. So I think we're getting away from this, but one of the models that has always been there has been people are having affairs because something is wrong in the relationship. Therefore, the person who's been cheated on is probably in some way not meeting the needs of the other person. So they are kind of at fault and need to look at that. That's a bad paradigm, right? Because each one of us is responsible for ourselves. And there are all kinds of ways to handle relationship challenges and the things that are going on in a relationship that don't involve betraying your partner, that don't involve lying and cheating on your partner. So that it's a bad framework for that reason, and it's also a bad framework because what we know is affairs happen for all kinds of reasons, having to do with the inner workings of the person who's cheating, having to do with what's happening in the world. I mean, they have all kinds of other reasons than there's something wrong in the relationship. People can actually be quite happy in their relationship and still cheat. That is the truth, right? So that's an old paradigm, but it ends up scapegoating the partner and sort of contributing to this form of gaslighting, even in the therapy office. All right, so that's category number 3. Category number 4 of gaslighting is coercion. All right, so we've got some subcategories under this, okay? So coercion is when you are manipulated and coerced by your partner into sort of in order to hide the behavior that's happening or in order to get you to accept the behavior that is happening. Sort of one of two things. So our little subcategories under coercion are, one form of coercion is what I call the charm offensive, right? So this can be flowers, gifts, the person really showing up emotionally for you temporarily for a short period of time. I think a common language that's out there is love bombing. So this would be a form of love bombing. And it's basically trying to shower you with attention, gifts, something positive, because there's danger in some way of you discovering what's going on. So the charm offensive is about sort of distracting you, like, look over here, don't look over here, right? So it's to keep your eyes off from what might actually be happening. Or other times it's also about guilt. So sometimes it's about guilt and remorse about the acting out, and rather than, telling what's been going on, there's like some kind of gifting, flowers, romantic gesture, all of these different things to try to make up for what's happened over here in the secret life. Okay, so that's one form of coercion. A second form of coercion is pressure and manipulation. So this can be things like, I'm thinking about, like, and again, this is a story I've heard a dozen times, constant pressure and manipulation around being sexually available. So the belief that somehow the betrayed partner is not being sexual enough, sexual frequently enough, sexual in the right ways that are wanted. So there's a lot of pressure around, why isn't your libido higher? Maybe you need to go see a doctor. Maybe something's going on here. Maybe you're a little cold and frigid. Maybe you need to be more adventurous. Maybe you need to be more free. So whatever it is, there's pressure and manipulation around trying to get the betrayed partner to behave sexually in a way that the cheating partner wants them to. There can also be pressure and manipulation around wanting you to accept behaviors that perhaps are part of the cheating or part of the sexual acting out. And so getting you to be okay with them. So this could be things like, I should be allowed to be out till all hours of the night, and you don't need me to check in with you. You don't need to know where I was. I've got a life. Why do you need to babysit me? You're not my mom, right? It's not a problem for me to go out to dinner with these women, this woman that I work with, or this coworker, or this person from my club, or, right? Nothing's happening. I can have women friends. That's totally fine. What are you worried about? Why are you worried about this? So it can cover a whole bunch of different things, but it's about pressuring you as a betrayed partner into accepting behaviors that you feel uncomfortable with, and that often indicate to you that there's something going on, and that you have some fear and some knowing that this is a sign of something, but you're being pressured into accepting it as normal and fine and not threatening or dangerous in any way. All right, so that's our second little subcategory under coercion. Our third one is intimidation and violence. So for some betrayed partners in their relationship, this is like where domestic violence and betrayal sort of come together and overlap. And occasionally for betrayed partners, they will be in relationships where in order to access sex from the partner, the betrayed partner will have been drugged, or the person will have had sex with them when they were sleeping, not able to give consent, or there will be violence in the home and intimidation. And like, here would be another example that's a little more subtle, would be because you haven't had sex with me in the last few days, or because you were angry about me going to this event and doing things that you didn't think were okay and that you consider betrayal, because you're upset about this, or because you won't provide me sex, I'm now going to punish you, and I'm going to also punish everybody else in the house. So sometimes the kids get brought into this, and I'm going to withdraw, and I'm going to be angry and be this like sullen storm cloud in the house, just creating this negative, angry, rageful environment that everybody now has to sit in for the next week because I'm angry at you about this. So this is a form of trying to get you, to the betrayed partner, to be okay with whatever the thing is that they're trying to get you to be okay with. Or if it's about you providing sex, it's a way of trying to get you to be sexual when they want you to be, rather than when you want to be sexual. Okay, so it can cover a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm just giving you some examples. So it can go beyond what I've said here, but I'm just giving you examples to help you understand what that is. Okay, so those are the 4 forms. of gaslighting. We've got straight up lying, reality manipulation, scapegoating, and then coercion. Okay. So again, these are all normal parts of cheating, unfortunately. And you may experience one or two of these things. You may experience one more than others. You may experience only a little bit of it. Everybody, it's on a continuum, right? So everybody experiences a different degree of these, but for everybody that's dealing with cheating, there's a component of lying that's always part of that, and gaslighting that's always part of that, in terms of feeling like you weren't able to know what your reality was because this person kept reality hidden from you. So what I often talk about with betrayed partners is it's like there's two different stories, right? There's the story over here of the relationship that you thought you were in, right? And what you thought your life looked like, what you thought was going on. And then once you discover the betrayal, there's this other timeline over here, right? And this is whatever was going on with the cheating, whatever was going on with the addiction, however long the behaviors were going on, whoever was involved in all of those behaviors. So now there's these two different timelines, right? And part of the job of recovery, part of the task of healing, is to somehow bring these timelines together and make them make sense, okay? So for betrayed partners, what this looks like is, after discovery, there's a lot of what I call connecting the dots, right? There's a lot of, oh, wait a minute. Were you with the affair partner when we were in Hawaii? Was that happening when we were on that trip? Or wait a minute, were you acting out in your addiction when I was pregnant and when all of that was going on, or when I had cancer and I was in treatment with cancer? Was that when this was happening, and when did that happen? And so there's like this process of bringing these two storylines and bringing them together and starting to merge them and make sense of your life and your world, because this timeline was hidden, even though it was very much affecting this timeline and this storyline, okay? So that's a huge part of healing, is beginning to be able to kind of unwind from the gaslighting and the lying and be able to create a kind of integrated narrative where you understand what has actually really happened in your life and how has that happened. So for a lot of betrayed partners, when they are dealing with gaslighting, and often post-discovery, so you've got all the lying that goes on previous to discovery, then there's the discovery of the betrayal, right? And then there's often a lot of gaslighting after that. Most cheating partners in those weeks and months are trying to figure out how to continue to hide things. Like, it's kind of this game of, how much do you already know? What else do I need to tell you to satisfy you? And what can I continue to keep hidden? So because of that dance, and again, that's a really normal dance that goes on, even though it's a really crappy dance that goes on, because of that dance that happens, the gaslighting is really high in the weeks following disclosure or discovery. There's often a lot of gaslighting going on. So for betrayed partners, they're trying to figure out and understand what is going on here with the lying, what is going on with the reality manipulation, and how do I deal with that? So one of the things to know and to think about is that while gaslighting is something that is happening to you, it is happening to you, but then that means that you are responding to it in a certain way. And how you respond to gaslighting is really important. Like, it's really important to be able to start to identify, when are you being gaslighted? What is happening? And how do I deal with this in a way that is good for me and in a way that is healthy with me and that takes me out of the role of the gaslightee? So there's a book written called The Gaslight Effect by Robin Stern, I think Stern. And she talks about being the gaslightee in that book, right? So how do I step out of the role of being the gaslightee and hold on to my reality and know how to cope with the gaslighting that is happening? So that's an important role. That's an important step and task for betrayed partners, because if you are passive around the gaslighting. And what I mean by being passive is if you have the belief that you just need to wait for the cheating partner to stop gaslighting you, and when they stop lying, then things will be okay. That's actually not true. Because if you've been being gaslighted for a long time, it's affected your thinking and it's affected your ability to trust yourself. So you've lost connection often to your own inner knowing, your gut instincts, all the parts of you that have been saying to you, hey, there's a problem, or hey, this is happening, or hey, look at this, and that you learned during the gaslighting process to maybe walk away from or think, oh no, that's not really happening, or I must have seen that wrong. All the doubt around trusting yourself that was created has impacted you. So just waiting for your partner to stop lying is not really enough around the gaslighting. There's also looking at what happened to me as the gaslightee and how did I start to participate in this process of being deceived, and where did I lose the ability to hold on to my own reality, to trust my own gut, to trust myself, to trust my inner knowing. What happened to me there? So that is a really important step for you as a betrayed partner to do, and to be active around that, right? This is a place to do active, proactive work around your own healing and your own healing process. All right. So we do a ton of work around gaslighting and looking at how to rebuild your ability to trust yourself and trust your reality, and the attachment-driven dynamics that are often present that make us want to go blind to the things that are happening. We do a lot of work with that in our Braving Hope program. So if you would like to do that work and really look at that and think about how the gaslighting has been impacting you and unwind from that, then schedule a call with us and we will talk with you, and we will see if Braving Hope, our 12-week online coaching program, is right for you and if we can work with you. And if not, we'll get some clarity for you on what is going on and help you take a look at what's happening in your life and what the patterns are that have been created by this. So there'll be a link below and you can click on that and schedule a call with us. All right, until then, I will see you next time.